after the election, the nation remains somewhat divided over the new president-elect.
A recent Bloomberg poll found Donald Trump's favorability rating sits at just 50%, the lowest for an incoming president since George H.W. Bush back in 1989.
Here to break down the numbers is Chris Jackson. He is vice president of Ipsos Public Affairs. Chris, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. There is, though, some good news in these numbers for the president-elect, correct?
That's right. Thanks for having us. Good to be here. Donald Trump is entering his transition with some of the lowest favorability ratings we've seen, but they've been ticking up. And right now in our Ipsos polling, we actually have Trump with his strongest favorability ratings we've seen since we've essentially started polling on him. So he's moving in the right direction, even if he's not quite where Obama was when he took office.
Why do you think that his numbers were where they were at, given the fact that, I mean, he won the election? How is it that you would see such a low favorability rating right out of the gate?
Well, I mean, remember, it is a pretty divided country, and people who voted for Clinton aren't going to immediately change their mind and say, you know what, I'm okay with Donald Trump. So it's going to take him time to start changing minds if he's even able to do so.
We are getting some details now from the president-elect. He's made a number of cabinet picks. Generally speaking, how are those decisions polling? What are people thinking of the cabinet picks?
Yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag, actually. Some of them are seen as pretty good, pretty well-liked, pretty favorable. And a lot of them are just people that the public doesn't really know about. A lot of these are sort of more insiders. They're not as well-known. You have characters like Mitt Romney who are well-known, aren't actually quite in the cabinet yet. So the public right now, a slight plurality think that the cabinet's shaping up well, but it's still only about 40% to about 30% who say the cabinet's not looking good.
Besides the cabinet picks, what other things do you kind of look at? I guess looking at past administrations, what things do you look at and kind of poll things that people will really kind of, I guess, look at and maybe take issue with or not take issue with, other than the cabinet picks?
Yeah, so I think one thing we look for in the poll numbers is the direction of the country, how people say the direction of the country is going. And it's ticked up a little bit since Trump got elected. But mostly what's happened is Republicans who in the Obama years were really negative have gotten more positive, where Democrats who were more positive have gotten negative. Trump's not even in office yet. President-elect Trump hasn't actually passed any policies yet. He hasn't even really entered his honeymoon stage yet. And with the way this is sort of shaping up, it'll be more of a bachelor party than a honeymoon for the president-elect.
The thing that most people are focused on and say is the most important issue, still the economy?
Yeah, that's right. The number one issue is still the economy. And in that regard, Trump, I think, is actually playing it pretty well with some of these prominent deals he's making with these companies. I don't know if it's good economic policy or not, but people see him as doing something, and that matters.
Do people, besides looking at the economy, is security? What's the next thing after economy that people really seem to be focused on? And how do you think the president-elect will do with that?
Yeah, that's right. The number one issue is economy. Number two is terrorism. And number three is health care. It sort of remains to be seen. Terrorism is typically one of those things that the president's seen as doing well unless something bad happens. So it's really sort of the absence of something happening that'll mark Trump's success.
Okay. All right, there you go. Chris Jackson, Vice President of Ipsos Public Affairs. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.